Welcome to the Taxing Subjects Podcast. I'm Ryan Norton. Now, on the podcast, we normally invite members of the Drake Software Education team to discuss tax law changes and product updates. Well, today we're going to talk about DrakeCPE, which is Drake Software's website for earning continuing professional education credits. Joining me for this discussion are Drake Software's education specialists, David Millis and Jenny Brown. Welcome to the show, you two.
Thank you for having us.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about, so we'll just go ahead and jump into it. Now, this time of year, a lot of tax professionals are probably looking into completing the annual filing season program, or the AFSP. Could you tell me a little bit about that and how DrakeCPE can help people get their record of completion?
All right, so the annual filing season program, or the AFSP, is a voluntary program that tax preparers can participate in, non-credentialed tax preparers typically. The preparers who voluntarily meet the requirements will get a certificate of completion from the IRS, and that allows them to have limited representation before the IRS, which is something they otherwise wouldn't have, so that's really important. The other, benefit of doing it is that they get entered into a public database of credentialed tax preparers. So if you're a taxpayer and you're looking for somebody to prepare your taxes, you can go to this database and your name will be listed there, which is a huge benefit.
It is the way to set yourself apart from your competition.
Right.
So, well, what are, Jenny, the individual requirements for the AFSP and earning a certificate of completion?
So I wish I could give you a really succinct answer for that. There's not a one size fits all. What I can tell you is that the requirements haven't changed for the regular non-credentialed tax preparer. Okay. So for the regular non-credentialed tax preparer, they need to earn 18 credits. 6 of those are by taking the AFTR course, and we have that on DrakeCPE.com. And in addition, they need to earn 2 credits in ethics, and then they need to earn 10 in federal tax law. And again, we have all of that on DrakeCPE. But as far as the specific requirements, what we do recommend is if you go to DrakeCPE and you click on the AFTR course, there will be a place where we have frequently asked questions about the program. And so people can read through that. They can figure out which category they fit into and which requirements they need.
Okay. Now, you mentioned AFTR course, and obviously they can go to learn more by going to DrakeCPE.com. But just briefly, what is AFTR? So we're throwing a lot of acronyms around. So there's AFSP and AFTR. And
I know. We throw them around. Yeah. We expect everybody to know. So the AFTR course stands for the Annual Federal Tax Refresher Course. Okay. And it's going through a general... How would you describe it as a general?
It's a review of general tax principles.
Gotcha.
To make sure that the tax preparer knows his stuff.
Gotcha.
Right.
Just helping you brush up for next season.
Right. And and again, it's giving you, that's what's leading into having that limited representation before the IRS and being in the public database, because it's kind of saying, hey, you're non-credentialed, but you've got this.
Yeah, you can demonstrate your expertise.
Right.
Exactly.
All right. Well, what courses does Drake have to support tax preparers in getting their AFSP record of completion? Sounds like the AFTR course would be one of those.
Mm-hmm. We have a lot of courses on DrakeCPE.com. And if you hover over a course, it'll display what course of study that course is, whether it's federal tax law, tax update, or ethics. And if you click on a course, it'll give you a brief description. It'll show you how many credits you're going to get and the cost of the course.
Which is all pertinent information for anybody who's looking to go and earn those CPE credits, get ready for next year.
Right.
Now, you mentioned ethics, David.
Right.
And as Jenny said, that's a component of the AFSP. What offerings does Drake have specifically in that area?
We have several ethics courses to choose from. They're all 2 credits, which is what the requirement is for the AFSP. Mm-hmm. And some of them are self-study and some of them are on-demand webinars.
Well, speaking of self-study and on-demand, for people who might not be familiar with those terms, what is the difference between self-study and an on-demand webinar?
I'm glad you asked. That is a good question. On-demand webinars is kind of like watching a video. And self-study is like a narrated PowerPoint where you, as the student, would click a button to continue on to the next slide. Both have review questions. Both have an exam that you would be required to pass with a score of 70. And you can take the exam as many times as needed until you pass.
Gotcha. So it's not like you're going to have PTSD from taking
No.
end of grade testing
Right.
for school.
Yeah.
You can take your time, get the information,
Right.
get your credits.
Right. And even if you don't pass, you have the option of retaking the course to review as needed.
That's great. Now, with a lot of live webinars, you have a specific time that you have to be online to turn it on. Is that the case with these on-demand webinars? Do you have to be online, like say at 8 o'clock or whenever they? So it's sort of similar to self-study in that you go to the course and you watch it at your convenience.
Exactly.
That's great. That's great. Because I know that especially during off season, there's a lot of stuff people are taking care of, whether it's vacation or doing other things to prepare their office, training new staff, getting new software, learning that, earning your CPE.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really handy and convenient. Are there any courses that have been added to DrakeCPE recently?
So we're always trying to add new courses and keep everything up to date and fresh. We've recently added 4 on-demand webinars, and we're really excited about that. That's been in the past month or so.
Oh, wow.
In the next couple of weeks, we're super excited. We're adding a new 3-credit on-demand webinar. It's entitled The Fundamentals of Preparing Form 1120. This is presented by an EA. She has over 17 years of experience preparing taxes, so she is well-versed. But the really exciting part about it is we've kind of tried to make it more interactive. So there are going to be case studies that the student can do. So basically the video will go and it will stop, and then the person who's taking the course will work on a case study. They'll start up the video again, and the presenter will go over the solution with them to see if they got it right. And because that takes place a couple of times, we're hoping that helps aid in their understanding, and we're super, super excited. And this is going to be a first in a 3-part series. So we're really looking forward to it.
So finally, before we close out, we've covered the AFSP, the after course, some new on-demand webinars that you in fact offer self-study courses. If I am a tax professional who's interested, I know you've mentioned it at the top of the podcast, but just remind the audience, where do they go to sign up for these courses?
That's www.drakecpe.com.
Great. So www.drakecpe.com. And you mentioned there's an FAQ section. I assume that that's for any of the courses.
Well, yes. So if you go to the landing page, at the bottom, there's FAQs, and it covers a lot of different areas, but the after will be listed there as well. But you can get to the after the AFSP FAQs a couple different ways because it's important.
Indeed. And if maybe I'm a more traditional person who does not want to get my information from an FAQ, can I make a phone call to Drake to find out more information?
So you would call our award-winning support at Drake, and it's 828-524-8020.
That's it for today. Thank you both for showing up, David and Jenny. It's always a pleasure to talk to y'all.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Ryan.
And we'll see you all on the next Taxing Subjects podcast.